Hello, in this video I would like to show you how to configure Vercel with AWS. I will create AWS ECS cluster Fargate, and then I will call a program from this cluster from Vercel. Okay, let's start. First, I will take admin dashboard template. That will be my project. And I will create a new, let's call it 2. Create. I will add serverless Postgres. I'm near Australia, I'm near Singapore. Okay, I will be in Singapore, so everything will be by default. Continue. Connect. I have to provide a secret key. It does not really matter for me. And now I can push deploy. Okay, now we'll wait until the repo created and everything is deployed. Okay, it took a couple of minutes. Now I can continue to dashboard. And here is my project. So if I go inside my project, I will see it's not working because I need to create tables. But first, let's open the GitHub repo and have a look at the code, what we've got there. I push the repository button, it's over here. Then I will clone it to my PC. Git clone. And here I need to provide my name. Okay, it's cloned. Now let's open it in Visual Studio. Okay, here is the project. So this is our project, and if we go to README, we will be able to see how to start to work with this project. The first thing we need to do, npm. Let's move to the project. So first npm i-j Vercel. Okay, we installed it. The next one, Vercel link. Yes. Okay, everything else. Okay, everything yes. And then we will pull environment variables so that we can run it locally. Okay, we pulled the environment variable, and now we've got here a file called envlocal, and all the variables are over there here. Okay, the next thing what we need to do, we have to type pnp install npm, and then npm dev. And now it's working on localhost. Okay, let's localhost 3000. Okay, here we've got our repo. The next thing what we need to do, we need to create the tables in our Postgres database. How to do it? Let's open our Postgres from here. Go to storage. Okay, now let's connect to our database. That's our database. Let's connect to it. Open in Neon. Here it is. We've got here SQL editor, and here we can try to create our table. So if we have a look over here, we need to create this table. Then let's add the row inside the table. It's done. And then if we have a look in our README file, then we'll see that we also need to create a table called products. Let's create type. And then let's create products table. Okay, and now our application should be working. Yeah, now it started to work. But our goal is to create a new function, which we'll call AWS function. That's why we need to do some changes to the code. First of all, we need to create our backend application, which will run on AWS. How to do it? We will execute this command. It will create a new Express TypeScript project. Okay, it's done. Now I made a couple of other changes to the project. I will go through all the changes and show you what I changed. Okay, here is the project. So what I changed, first of all, I changed Vercel itself. I added a test folder over here, and then I added a page. This page contains two buttons like this, and the first button calls write to DB, and I will be writing to database from Vercel backend, and then the other one call AWS endpoint. I will call AWS endpoint, which will also write to the same Postgres DB. And here are the functions. So this one, how I call the AWS function, and here is how I call the Vercel backend function. What I do here, I just first delete all products, and then I do iteration. I put the await sleep 1000 because just I needed it for testing purposes, and then I add a new product to the database. So how it looks like: delete all products is just db delete, and insert is just like db insert. That's all. Also, what I did, I went to layout TSX and added a new menu over here called test. Here it is. So what it does, it goes to my road and then label is test. So we can try to run it and see if we can see our new label. Let's try it. Okay, now let's run the application. And if we go over here, we can see our two buttons. That's the first change. The second change, what I did changes to backend. Okay, I made a couple of changes to server.ts. First of all, I installed PG module to work with the database. And here I added one function called db, and this function I connect to Postgres, and then I also add new product into the database. So that's all. Let's try to run our backend. Okay, it's running on port 3000, and if we call, for example, users, yeah, we should see the table. Okay, this one is working. The next thing what I've done, I created a Docker file because I will be creating ECS Fargate from a Docker image. And that's why I have a Docker file. That's how it looks like. I also created a file which will build the Docker and push it into ECR. And I created a .vercel ignore not to build backend, otherwise it will start to build backend and there will be an error. So first thing, let's try to push our code to Vercel, and then we should be able to see the changes in Vercel, and we can try to create new records in Postgres from Vercel backend. Okay, we'll commit changes to Git. I will call it initial, commit, and sync changes. And now after the changes are synced, Vercel should automatically deploy our application. Let's see. Okay, the build is ready. Now we can go to production and see that we've got the button. Okay, here it is. Now we've got write to DB. Okay, let's try to execute it. Let's go to dashboard and see logs. And it is working. As you can see, it's going over iteration, but at some point it has to stop because Lambda function in Vercel are limited to several seconds. Actually, it depends on the plan which you use. You can read about it in Vercel. Okay, so now what we can do, we can go to Neon and try to select from products. And we can see our rows. Okay, this one works. Now let's try to set up everything with AWS Lambda. The first thing which we have to do, in the backend folder we've got n files. We will be using development, so let's open development first. Okay, we've got here a database URL because we needed to connect to our Neon database. And we need to take this URL from our env local file. So when you open it, you will see their database URL. Just copy the value and put it in here. Okay, now I did that. And the next thing which I have to do, I have to go to nvars over here and add my database URL. I called it database URL, so this one should be working right now. Let's launch it, and then let's try to call it from here. Yeah, you see now it's working, and we can see that we are adding rows to our table. So our backend is working. Now what we need to do, we need to deploy everything to AWS. Okay, let's do that. First of all, let's go to our AWS. Here it is. I'm going to ECR, Elastic Container Register, and I need to create a new repository here where I will store our images. So let's call it Vercel demo, AWS demo, for example. Create. Now I will copy this one. And then here I created a file over here which will move the image which we will build to this repo. I will put here the name of the repo. And now let's try to execute it one by one. We need to be, okay, first I can authenticate from anywhere I want. Okay, it's done. And now I have to go to the root folder and then to build the Docker image. And then I will tag it as latest. And then I will push it to the repo. It did not work because I did not change the name of the repo over here. So now I can try again. And it should be working. Okay, it's pushed. Now we can go here and see that our image is here. Let's copy the URI because we will need it. Now we can go to ECS and create our ECS Fargate cluster. Let's go to clusters, create new cluster. We will call it AWS Vercel demo cluster. It will be AWS Fargate, and that's all. We don't need anything else. Okay, the cluster is created. Then we need to create task definition. Let's create a new task definition. It will be AWS Fargate, task role. The name I will be, for example, Vercel AWS. Then here I will put the link to the image. I will map ports because it will run on 3000. This one is done. The next thing, use log collection done. And the next thing which I have to do, I have to create, I have to give it the name, AWS Vercel TD, and then I create the task definition. Okay, task definition is created. Now we go to our ECS cluster and then we create a new service. It will be Fargate. We will choose our AWS Vercel TD because this is the one which I created. I will call it, for example, TD replica. That's okay. And now the most important thing is to configure out load balancing because we will be querying our ECS Fargate via load balancer. So we say application. Now we defined our container immediately. Then we will create a new one. We will call it, for example, like this. We will use HTTPS 443. Then I have a certificate which I created in Certificate Manager, which is connected to all my domains. So it's over here. And that's it. We can already push create. And now we have to wait until the task is created. Okay, while it's creating, let's check some things. First of all, let's go to a load balancer. Our load balancer should be already created. Let's have a look. We need to add here a new security group because this security group, if we have a look at it, it doesn't allow us any inbound rules. It allows only from the same group, that's all. So what we're going to do, we're going to security groups. We will create a new security group. Let's call it AWS Vercel. Like this. And then we will add inbound rules. We will say that HTTPS custom, and I think that's it. Create security group. So we allow HTTP requests from all IP addresses. And now we go back to load balancer, and then we will add here the new security group. Okay, this one is done. Now if we go to listeners over here and at health check, we will edit it. We will call users, the users endpoint, and I think that's it. Now we need to wait until it becomes healthy, and this one here, this one should be written like completed. Okay, let's wait. Okay, it is completed, so we can go inside and have a look at logs. As you can see, like there are our health checks. Looks like all good. Let's have 5 minutes over here. Now let's go to our load balancer. Targets, yeah, this one is healthy, so everything is good. The last thing what we have to do, we need to add this DNS name to route 53 because I call it okay, I will add here the name. Okay, I added the name is synced, and now if I call this one, I should have my users. Okay, it's all good. let's go to our ECS cluster. And then have a look at the logs. And as you can see, we are adding the product. So it also worked. So everything is working. That's all. Hope this video is useful for you. Bye.